Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome everybody today to a one-on-one interview with Sister Aziza to get to know our sister as a new revert to Islam. Hopefully her story can inspire others. Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Wa alaikum salam.
So what's your name?
My name is Aziza Shamsuldin Nur al-Huda, but I was born Changsi Gu, and in America I'm known as Chelsea Gu. I was born May 27th, 1987 in Nanjing, China. That's southern China. And I grew up there till I was about 6 years old, until I came to the US with my parents. They immigrated here when I was 6.
MashaAllah, your Islamic name is beautiful. The meaning of it is
dear, powerful son of the way of life. Light of guidance.
MashaAllah. I guess the first question that comes to me today is your road to Islam. In other words, people have sometimes life-changing experiences or things that happen in their life that leads them to Islam. Can you discuss briefly the road you took before discovering Islam?
Yes, I can. I grew up as a single child, and I found that my childhood was pretty lonely. I was pretty empty, always looking for things. I always felt lacking in whatever. When I was 10 years old, my parents divorced, and as a young kid, I felt shattered inside in pieces here and there, not knowing where I was or what I was doing, missing the light, missing my road, missing my path in life, not knowing what my purpose was, and always feeling empty inside. I resorted to bad things like drugs and eating disorders and shoplifting, and my journey was extremely long and arduous. And I think a lot of people can relate to my story. For example, I had my eating disorder, bulimia and anorexia, for about 7 or 8 years. It was pretty extreme, and starting when I was 13. And that led me to like shoplifting because I couldn't afford my habits. So, you know, I became like a thief, and I didn't stop until I met somebody, and they made me stop. But I lost a lot of things because I was naive, and so I gave myself away, and I was very lost and empty inside. And I gained one thing, but I lost another, and so I still felt very empty inside. It was like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. So I was always still weak. You know, I would be strong and then be weak and weak. So they just cancel each other out, and I'd end up back in zero. And before Islam, there was nothing to stabilize me, and I just felt so empty and weak and like broken inside. It was not a happy life, and it wasn't peaceful at all.
I hear you mention the word weak and empty. Is it fair to say that after reverting to Islam, the emptiness was filled, or the weakness was strengthened? And if so, how?
Yes, because in Islam, the whole word and the meaning for me is peace and happiness. After I met Brother Ahmed and Amira, they showed me so much kindness and generosity and charity and peace and happiness, and I saw what life could be as not something fake, not something material, but something spiritual for the heart and for the soul, and something that I could rely on no matter what, wherever I was, no matter what I was doing. I could just pray to God, Allah, for peace, and I would get peace miraculously. After I found faith, this is what happened. I would just pray in any situation when I felt like I was spiraling out of control for faith and peace and happiness, and I would get it. Thanks to Allah, the Almighty.
MashaAllah. I guess the next question would be, what aspect of Islam convinced you or gave you a feeling that, this was the right thing, this was the true religion? People sometimes, reverts many times say, I read the Quran and this ayah really jumped out at me, or this pillar of the religion really struck me. What one part or one pillar or one ayah in Islam really related to you the most and made you know Islam was the right way of life?
For me, since I don't know too much about Islam, that's true. But what I do know is that there's a lot of truth. It's true. The religion is true. And I've read certain things about science, about natural sciences, about human science that was revealed in the Quran 1400 years ago that have only been recently discovered in the last 40 years of modern science. And how could an illiterate prophet, for example, give such eloquent words and such profound knowledge if it wasn't from some creator, some all-knowing, all-wonderful being, who put those words in his mouth and revealed to us all the wisdom of his ways and his knowledge and his power? And I learned about human development through that way, like the waves in the oceans, how they're formed and their beauty, and cloud formations, and all of this really recent stuff that we've just been able to discover through very modern, expensive equipment and research in science was revealed to us in the Quran 1400 years ago. And that to me is miraculous, and that to me says there's truth in the religion, and there's an almighty being that's out there and who's looking after all of us, giving us truth and light and wisdom and divinity.
How has your life changed after returning to Islam, as far as everyday things like, friends, family, school, work? What changes have occurred in your life?